What?
I broke you. Go on, then. Let's go.
Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of the Talking Basketball Podcast. I am Mark.
I am Paul. Hello.
Hello. And we've got some of the new tunes blasting away here. We're trying something different. We're actually going remote today. So Paul's decided he's far too lazy to come out of his little golem lair in his house. So on that basis, over to you, Paul.
Well, I think it's a little bit nicer than a golem lair, but
No,
yeah,
you are
hello.
Golem in your lair.
We're the international episode gave us the idea, so you never know.
Well,
we might want to go on
glad you're not
holiday
in
at some
the toilet.
point.
I'm glad you're not in the toilet. I appreciate that.
I can do that next time for you, mate.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So this week we thought we'd do a quick update.
A quick update, yes. I've got my top 5 BBL stories ready to go.
Top 5, go for it. Hit us with it. Let's not waste any time.
You know what? I feel like I need a jingle, like or something for this. That was rubbish.
Wow, I don't know. I haven't got any explosions to hand.
Good.
That's it.
I'm going
what
to
I
give you this week's number 1 bit of news, Mark, from the
Number
BBL.
one.
From
Okay.
the BBL. This is huge.
Yep.
I want to introduce you to arguably the greatest individual in the BBL.
Okay.
And this legend is known as Pat Riots.
Okay.
Pat Riots, also known as Pat the Dog. This is the Plymouth Patriots mascot.
You
And-
stole my thing.
He is a legend. What you know about this?
No, but I saw him on the thing. I didn't realise.
He is a legend. He's mucking about. He's, playing tricks on people and stuff like that. He is part of the show. He is an absolute legend. And do you know what he just did?
No.
Half court shot.
An actual half-court shot?
Yeah, and he did it granny style as well.
Oh.
So
The back bucket or the front bucket?
no, front. Just launched it, granny style, boom, half court shot. Pat Riots, absolute legend. I feel like I need to go to Plymouth just to see him.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to do, instead of do a top 5, we're going to do a 1-1. So you've just done that one. I've got one for you. And my first one was Plymouth City Patriots. So I watched the game, and I won't reveal the score, but,
Why not?
well, I don't know. Shall we reveal the
Yeah,
score?
of course. It's supposed to be BBL News. Tell everyone what the score was.
What? So are we talking about the game where they're playing Sheffield?
The Sheffield Sharks. Yes.
Okay. So 92-87, Plymouth beat them. And it was a good home game. But what I think was really, really good was
Pat Riots.
but first off was the atmosphere. That's what I took away from the game. It was really good seeing the whole crowd get behind. And it actually led me to the second part, which was again to do with them. So I'm going to take number 2 straight off the bat. Was I hadn't appreciated their logo, which we were talking about in previous episodes, and with the plate, with the pavilion and everything. But when you see it all in the setting, their color schemes, logos, and everything, the aesthetic really looks good. And like the kits look great, and the crowd there in the pavilion.
The pavilion.
Well-
This sounds like you might have been converted, Mark. Are you saying you're a Plymouth fan? Then?
Well, no. What was interesting was, if you want to hear more about Plymouth, go back and listen to our episodes. We go a bit more depth in there. But what was interesting is they were going to lose the pavilion when they left the BBL, and then they came back this year, the new year for doing that. And they were going to leave the pavilion, but actually they managed to stay, I think, for another couple of years before they get something else arranged. But in the meantime, that pavilion looks awesome, and you almost fell off the chair then.
Yeah.
That was Impressive. So yeah, I just thought it looked really, really good, and their bleachers sort of goes up in a weird middle bit, which was
I agree. I thought it looked like it was kicking off there, and that's part of the
good atmosphere.
You know, the thing that draws you in, isn't it?
So what I didn't realise was that the local team here, Portsmouth Force, played in the NBL Division 3. They played Plymouth, but it was the Raiders.
Yeah.
And they used to be what the BBL team was, but it split, and now it's become something different and there was lots of things going on in the background. But I didn't put two and two together until very recently.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing I would say about the Plymouth Raiders in particular, their media for a Division 3 team is outstanding. It's bloody 100%. Outstanding. I can only assume that the guys doing the BBL are also doing the Division 3. No, it's not. It's separate because it's they were one team, and then it fragmented when the team went, and I think there was some administration issues or something, so they had to leave the BBL. Oh, well, fair play to them, because, you know, Plymouth Raiders, I actually reached out to them online and just said, look, guys, that is absolutely outstanding, as good as you can get in Div 1, let alone Div 3, so fair play to them.
They've got some divisional players that are from the higher tiers, and obviously they've dropped down, so they've basically go back to the beginning and start again. They'll be in Division 2 next season, maybe, if not the year after.
Well, the Force gave them a good game, and they only lost by, was it 1 or 2?
There's a great buzzer beater in that game as well.
That was at halftime, Jordan Walker. But I would say that I think on a different day, Portsmouth could have won that game. And the only reason I say that is because anyone knows, if you've travelled away from home, you get off the bus, you know, you need to get your body right before you start playing, really. And the Portsmouth team, for whatever reason, you know, I think they were late or whatever, they turned up 30 minutes before tip-off. Not great. So I looked at that and thought, you know what, an hour is what you need to be, really, at the least. But half an hour, you know, I looked at the scoreline and went, you know, that kind of makes sense. But we're going off topic here. We're going back to Portsmouth Force.
Yeah, no, it was just purely because it tied in with everything with Plymouth doing. So, you know, I gave them a bit of jit about their logo. I wasn't loving it massively. I like the colour, but actually seeing it all there and seeing it all laid out, it looks great. I think
they're moving up in your top 3, Mark, by the way you're talking.
Yeah, well, it is a South Coast team technically.
Wow.
So, you know.
Wow.
Tricky.
Well,
over to you.
Can I have my buzzer noise? This is my number 2. This is number 2. This is huge for me. Anyone who's listened to the previous show that we did on the BBL, just introducing the teams, I went on Google and searched BBL, and we all know about, you know, the Brazilian butt lift that came up, and the British Basketball League was number 4 on my listings. They are now number 2.
Oh.
So I don't know if that's me clicking on it or clicking on more basketball stuff, but I thought that was worth a mention, that we need to get above the Brazilian butt lift thing. That it needs to go above that. It needs to be, bigger and better than the butt lift.
Yes, it does. It definitely does. Take number 3. Go for it.
Can I have my noise? Boom! Number 3. Okay, this is Sky Sports. The British Basketball League is going to be having 40 games being shown of the BBL and the women's BBL as well. And it
is that
said
40 of each or 40 in total?
40 games in total. So I don't know what that split is. It doesn't say that here, but it is, you know, you're getting more games than ever before of the WBBL shown on Sky Sports. And that is because the last season, the actual viewing percentage shot up by 217%. And I like to think that was because of the podcast we did, Mark.
It was absolutely to do with that, even though that only came out recently, and obviously we're talking about last season, but absolutely it must have been
I'm
us.
pretty confident that's what it was. So
definitely.
that is my number 3 news, huge news. So I would encourage anyone, let's just keep an eye out the games. We'll tell people when these games are coming on. And
You happy about Sky Division?
yeah, I mean, you know, the more I look into this, the more I'm looking at the highlights, the more I'm getting excited, you know, and it's, you know, it's the top league in England, so why wouldn't we watch it and follow it and stuff like that? So, you know, from a very, you know, doing micro movements with it is just, you know, following all the teams on, you know, Facebook and stuff like that. And then by doing that, some of the highlights that were coming through, some of the videos I saw for the Manchester Giants game, it was kicking off there as well. And it was like, wow, that is a long way to go. But whilst I'm watching this, I want to go up there and be part of that. So, yeah, you know, we need to jump on this train, Mark, because the BBL is going places.
Definitely is. I mean, I'm going to go on a number 3 straight out of it. I was really, really, really impressed with 2 games, and they're going to be my 3 and 4. Number 3, coming straight in with Bristol Flyers versus Leicester. That was a great game.
Who won the game?
It was 74-92. Bristol lost that one. The score doesn't really show how good that game was, and I
not a true reflection of the game.
Not really, no. I mean, if you look at that on paper, you think it's like 18-point deficit, but I don't think that was a fair reflection of the game. Leicester are a super strong team. There's no question of that, and Leicester historically, or the Riders had run away a little bit in the last few seasons with some good stats, shall we say. So I think them winning everything and winning lots of bits back to back over the last 4 or 5 years, I won't say people might have got bored of it, but it's nice them maybe returning to that. At the same time, you've got other teams, which brings me on to my next one, which was Newcastle. Watching their game, that was absolutely fantastic, and that was probably my favourite game to watch.
Yeah, your favourite team as well, aren't they?
Yeah, if they can just change the logo. But Newcastle Eagles versus Cheshire Phoenix, that was an absolutely fantastic game.
Newcastle showed their quality, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They really, really just put their foot down, and there was no way anyone was going to catch them on that. I was really surprised, in fact, when I watched that, how much, what's there not a similarity, but the level of skill was better than I expected. And I know I'm not belittling any of the players or anything like that, but I was watching this thinking, this is like watching an NBA game. They had the sound effects, they had the crowd cheering, they had everyone behind them. They had some tension in the game. There's some big jams. There's some big plays. It was fantastic. So that was definitely for me the game of the week.
Nice. Well,
yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
It's my my 4th and 5th bit of news. They're kind of both for you, really. So one's about the Patriots and one's about the Eagles. So which one would you want first?
I would like, well, we were just talking about the Eagles, so let's carry on with the Eagles.
Well, do you know, Mark, they are in Europe. I just saw a team photo. They've just got on a plane in Newcastle and they're off to the ENBL, which is one of the fastest growing basketball leagues in Europe.
Yep.
And it's, I believe, Newcastle and Bristol in this league. And they could be playing any club from like Holland, Romania, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Poland, Czech Republic, Ukraine. I don't know about the going there, but Israel, Kosovo. So you've got huge teams. So this isn't like a a small league that they're going in, and basically they're in these. I think you've got these 2 groups, and as you progress, the top 4 teams in each group then go into the playoffs, and I think it is. I want to say like April next year is when you get like the Final Four and stuff like that. But Eagles are in this competition. And I did see a picture of the the players going off on the plane on Facebook, and I just thought, oh, you know what? I'll bring that up. I didn't know they were in Europe. I know we were talking about European competition. So yeah, that's a good one, I think. Yeah,
they were doing really well. I mean, incidentally, the game that I was watching that they were playing was in fact against Cheshire Phoenix, and they actually lost it. The game itself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you telling me the most decorated team in British basketball lost to Cheshire?
They did.
Wow.
But what was really good to see was some of the players for that one, like Skylar White for Cheshire. He gets an honourable mention because I just thought he was outstanding. He's such a big man. I don't like the Phoenix kit. They just ripped off Phoenix Suns kit, and it just doesn't work colour-wise. But they were playing superbly. And again, go back and listen to our other episodes. We know about the BBL. We've known it's existed. But we don't really know anything about them, or the teams, or the characters, or anything about this. So this is really a learning curve. And it's really good to see all of the teams and players and think, oh, they're cool, they're different. Oh, they're So that's what I took away from all of these games. And, I'm giving Skylar White a shout, but I could have given 4 or 5 players on any of the games a shout out, because I thought they just played so well.
Well, I've got a player who I saw and thought of you. I thought, this is Mark's kind of player. And I know you were, when we were talking before, I could see you might have had a little bit of a soft spot for the Plymouth Patriots. So I just was kind of watching their game against Sheffield. And one of the guys who stood out is, I don't know if this is his nickname, but this is what I'm giving it to him, is the American Sniper. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think I know who you're talking about.
I'm talking about Mason Faulkner.
Okay, yeah.
So this American guy, he's in his last 3 games, he scored over 20 points every game, and he looks like an all-rounder. And when I'm watching him play, he just looks to me like the kind of player that you would root behind. That's all. And he's a bit of an underdog, really, where he was been trying to get into the team, and this season could be his season to break through. And I just read this story about him, watched the highlights, and he just stood out for me. It was like, he reminded me a little bit like Chris Paul.
Yeah, I can see
maybe
that.
It was his movement, I don't know, but Mark, check out the American Sniper.
The American Sniper. Oh yeah, I like that. We'll segue that with the film, but maybe I'll try and get a soundbite somewhere. But incidentally, Sheffield's kit that they were playing, that grey kit, terrible.
You don't like it?
No.
I do like a grey kit. Kit.
It looks like someone left the black kit, a black t-shirt in with the white kit, and it's dyed everyone's kit. It just looks like an off colour. I think I know where they were trying to go, like silver, and it kind of looks like the stripes are there, but from the distance, it doesn't look that good.
Well, we still haven't got any confirmation yet. I'll be honest, I didn't look into it in that much detail, but it'd be great to get a Scottish team with the tartan, or even if it was a tartaned out, like a tartan strip.
Desperate for that.
It is such a good idea. It is such a good idea.
This brings me nicely to my number 5. I really enjoyed watching the games, and that's going to be my biggest takeaway. Yeah, I really enjoyed watching it. I got bored of watching some of the NBA games. It always seemed to be the same sort of stuff, and I won't say it's predictable, but you can see where a lot of the games go within the NBA to a certain degree. Once you start getting towards the off season and toward the end of the season and after the All-Star break, people start getting interesting. But this was really, all these games I found so interesting to watch. It wasn't boring basketball. It wasn't plain basketball. It wasn't just Euroball either. It kind of feels like there is its own flavour, and that I thought was quite exciting.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And what I was really surprised was, I'd say the individual team media presence. I mean, some teams are better than others. Like, for example, on some teams you have to really search for the score on their website, and you think, hang on, what was the score here? And all you're seeing is images, and you think, hang on, did they lose? Because I can't see the score. It's not obvious. In the NBL teams, it's really obvious. You just go when you see an image with the score and like a key player. But with some of the teams, some of the promotional stuff they're doing. I mean, did you check out the Gladiators new, and this is temporary, this is their temporary home court? Did you see that? Bloody hell. Some people could have that court and be happy, but they're building this even bigger one. But I mean, if you've not seen it, the images are great, aren't they?
You've promised the world that you're going to be building a 3,000 seater stadium.
Yeah, I mean, I need to win the Euros. A lot of my future plans does rely on that, so we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out.
From looking at all these games, do any of those stadiums stand out to you as that's something that I would love to replicate?
Definitely, I'd like to take bits from no, I don't want to say all of them, but bits from definitely some of them. I really love this like aircraft carrier look. Love it. I absolutely love it, this aircraft carrier look. I think it's the pavilion that has the seating that decreases as it goes up through the tiers, and it just has a really nice effect. I also think that if I was building something, I'd have something behind the baskets as well, not just have a wall. That's
my, I was going to say my plus one. That's my, we say I'm top five, but we've done a top five of the players and we always have one on the bench. So our one on the bench comment, what's your one on the bench comment?
Yeah.
You can have that as your one on the bench.
And then, you want maybe a little VIP area. You've got, like, I think it might have been Newcastle had this kind of like area where people could stand, and I thought, okay, that looks quite good. You've probably got the bar up there or something like that. That would be really good.
I mean, if you look at a lot of the games, so say you look at London Lions, obviously they play in the Copper Box. That was an Olympic building and houses 6,000 people, so it's big. There's a lot of space around it. Not necessarily the best used space, actually, but still, there's a lot of space. The court looks very cool. Surrey Scorchers, their games in their building that's all blue, and I know that it's only got bleachers on one side, but it looks very nice and clean.
Well, I can comment on that because I was talking to a guy called John Wilkinson. He plays for FIBA GB over 35s. And I was talking to him this evening about this actually, and he was just saying that the atmosphere there is incredible. He's saying like the atmosphere is really cool, and he was kind of confirming that what we were kind of guessing about before, where you have this wall of sound that just goes onto the court. He said he was sat 2 seats away from this woman who clearly was a season ticket holder and just had this massive drum. But that's what you want. That's what you want in a game.
And I bet Eddie Money, I mean, I think their capacity is maybe 1,000 or something like that at that sort of place. I bet any money they could fill probably double that without batting an eyelid.
Yeah,
so
I mean, that's
venues are almost the constricting part of all of these.
Yeah.
Other than London and a few the other bigger ones, it seems like you could get 2,000 people in without batting an eyelid, I think.
Yeah, and I think the Surrey Scorchers, I wanted to mention them just because John was just saying that the atmosphere is really good down there. So he was saying that I'll go to, he's going to come down there with us when we go and do a game. But you know, just by listening to him talk, it was like, you know what, it's exciting. You want to go down and see what it's like for yourself. And yeah, you know, the build up, everything, you know, he was very, very positive. So, you know, I'd love to go down there. I know we've got a few ideas. I won't go into that, but I know we've got a few ideas of how we could go down there. But let's see if any of the clubs come back to us.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, very positive. There's one last thing I was going to say. I've completely forgotten what it was.
I was going to mention Surrey.
Oh, I remembered it.
Because of their kit. I really love the colour of their kit. That sort of sky blue kit. That looks fantastic.
Goes well with in the court as well. Goes well.
And then if you're away or anything like that, it's just a nice coloured kit, and it doesn't look like they borrowed it just straight out of a template from someone else.
The only the one team that I did, I'll be honest, I kind of felt sorry for a little bit was, and I know this is a real cliche, but it's the London Lions. You know, they're undefeated at the moment. You know, played 5, won 5. You know, stand top of the table, 5 points clear. They're looking very strong already in the you know, opening 20% or 15% of the season. But we were just quite harsh on them a little bit, I think. Well, maybe you were, I think. But it's this feeling that I don't know if it's the British attitude that we like to root for the underdog sometimes. I don't know what it is, but it's like when someone owns, the London Lions don't. The company who owns the London Lions also owns a part of the league. But then it's a bit like, you know, when we grew up, it was like someone said, "Oh, support Manchester United," and you'd go, "Oh," probably a bit like people say Manchester City now, and you go, "Oh, right, okay." And I don't. That's nothing against them. It's I don't know how to explain that. I just think, you know, if you want to root for them, I just feel we're a little harsh on them. Well, no, I feel you were a little harsh on them. I wasn't.
Yeah, but it's.
I just had a go at the logo, the mascot.
It's for that reason. It's, you know, I had two things, and it was purely one, exactly that, because they're London. You just expect them to be good because it's the draw of London and they've got the pot of the best thing. Two, because they're owned by the people who own the league and they have all the money put into it, and you can tell because their media is unbelievable, and the stuff that they do and the stuff they put out there, their video shots and everything are better than anyone's by a mile, by an absolute mile. And some of the other teams, you know, they're slowly picking up to it and they're doing some really good stuff, there's no question. But my negative for the week was some of the camera footage. Some of the games was definitely subpar compared to some of the other ones. You can tell.
Yeah, you can see that. What I really liked was maybe who was it? I think it was Plymouth. The way they did they had like a post-game interview, and they just had the coach talking and like a sound image coming up underneath his image, if that makes sense. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I did like that. It was just those little small bits that just add, okay, that's what the coach said. Okay, brilliant. Okay. But it's just the way they presented it is what I liked about that. But yeah,
that was good all in all, really.
It's well hard holding this mic.
No worries.
I'm not in the studio. So
it was only a short one we're doing anyway, isn't it? But it's just a top fire, you know, a 5+1, so to speak. But just to wrap up that, I mean, for me, it was just positive. That's how I leave it. I got into it, and I wasn't expecting to. I was thinking, you know, I'll give it and see how it goes. But good standard basketball, enjoyable to watch, and I think, and maybe I'm wrong here, but because the crowds are smaller, it sounds like they mic them up really well because.
I don't reckon they're mic'd up. Do you reckon they're mic'd up? I don't reckon they are. I just reckon they're making loads of noise.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because I think that, when you have an NBA game, it's such a big stadium and you have like 15, 20,000 maybe seater, that it's actually quite difficult to pick up, the crowd noises, so to speak. Those places, you can hear the crowds cheer and everything, and it makes you feel a bit like you're in the game. So they definitely, maybe they should mic up even more, but they definitely have the atmosphere, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
And there's some there's a couple of the teams played sounds. Not all of them.
They're copying us at the Portsmouth Force, aren't they?
They are.
They are.
But not all of them. Not all of them did, and I thought that was interesting. But I don't know.
I think everyone will have their own unique style, won't they? But it was all really good. And you know what? The difficult thing I find is I'm kind of want to root for a team. I can't pick which one. I feel like I have to turn up to the venues, or maybe just get a player come up to me and give me a high five and go, oh, okay, cool, I'll follow you guys, or something like that. But
if any of the teams want us to come and do a live podcast at your venue, even if the game isn't on and you're just doing training, and we'll just sit there and chat with all of you, give us a shout and we will come to your venue.
How would they give you a shout, Mark?
Well, they've got to go either on the website or send us an email.
What's the email address?
UK Basketball Podcast @gmail.com.
There you go.
Or What's My Basketball Podcast?
I think it's a matter of time.
But we would love to. I wanted to float the idea of doing a whole round trip and seeing every single stadium, because that would be cool. But that's a lot of legwork. I know they all have to do that journey, but
I think that'd be amazing. Just say once every season you go to every home venue. That would be really cool. But you know what? Surrey are bottom of the league. They are bottom of the league.
Yep.
I'm actually looking forward to going and watching them play, because the games are so close.
Their home games they haven't got many home games in October. They've got a few.
Really?
Yeah, they've only got one, I think.
I know. But it's, you know what, like the teams that are closest to us are actually the three teams at the bottom of the table. Well, other than London. Yeah.
You've got London, Bristol, Surrey and Plymouth.
Yeah. But you know what? Even if it's like the bottom of the table, just based on what people are, I'm talking about, and they're saying that the atmosphere is great. You want to check out this play. You want to, look at that. Regardless of the team, I'm a fan of the BBL, and you know what? Yeah. One thing I'm looking forward is to checking out Pat Riot's that bloody legend.
Do we have to pick a team by a certain time of the year?
Well, we made an agreement that if you receive 1,000 emails by people with a team name, you would have to support them. So have you had 1,000 Newcastle Eagle emails through?
No, I haven't. My mum sent me an email to test it, but that's about it.
Oh, okay. So we can confirm no one has got near the 1,000 mark.
No, we haven't got near the 1,000 mark, but there are suggestions. But they're all spattered, so I won't say it's even Stevens, but maybe we'll get a little board or something and do a little.
I want to go to a game. I want to go to the game.
I want to go to more than one game.
Yeah, but it's I would
family the world is, but
I'd like to do this at a game. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll see if there's any scope. I don't know. Maybe our podcast shooting up the ranks, Mark, to number 14. Maybe that stardom will put some of the BBL players off. So maybe they don't want us to do it.
Dazzle them with our audible wonderfulness.
You know what was quite nice? I feel for you a little bit, because people don't put your voice to your face. But next home game, I'm going to highlight to everyone who you are.
That's all right.
It's quite.
You like the attention, I don't. So that's quite good, because they just all look at you, and I can stand here.
But it's quite funny. Someone came up and they were standing near me, and they heard me talking to someone. And they went, "You know what? I'm listening to this podcast and you sound like the guy on the podcast. I went, oh, right, what's it called? It was like the Portsmouth Basketball Podcast. I went, yeah, that's good, isn't it? And he went, yeah, it is you, isn't it? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, you know what? Your face looks really weird because I can hear your voice and I'm looking at your face now and it doesn't make sense. It was like, oh, all right, cheers, thanks, see you later.
Thanks, Shrek.
Nah.
Your face looks really weird.
Well, kind of like your face doesn't match your voice that I had pictured in your head, and now I'm listening to you like in front of my face talk. It kind of just blew his mind a little bit, but it made me laugh.
We lost. So the one that we lost off, that was them. They just went, oh no, I'm not following him.
Possibly. So, there you go, Mark. I don't think we had enough buzzers in this episode, but they're my 5 BBL updates. That's what you need.
5 BBL updates. That's definitely right, and we'll do that.
That's the jingle right there. BBL updates.
We'll figure one out, and then we'll do it next time. But, are we going to do this weekly?
What?
Are we doing this weekly?
Let's see what the listeners say, Mark. You know what I say. If the listeners want it, I've got to do it.
And I mean, this tails it off quite nicely, doesn't it? Because if you don't know what we're talking about and you don't know what the BBL is, or you're just stumbled on us, hello, thank you for joining and staying this long.
And we can confirm it's not a Brazilian butt lift.
It is not. We're not talking about Brazilian butt lifts. We can, but that's a different show. Go back and check out the last 2 episodes that we put out there, which are all to do with the BBL, what it is, when it was established, and the teams that are in there at the moment. Go check it out. And go check out some of our other ones if you haven't before. And share it with your friends and tell people about it. And say, hey, these guys are cool. And drop us some messages, because we love talking to people. And we love getting some feedback. And if you've got any ideas for what you want us to talk about on the show, if you've games that you wanted to talk about or voice opinions on or whatever, or did you think this was a foul or anything, let us know, because we'd love to sort of, go into that sort of detail.
And you know what? I want to build up Pat Riot's profile.
You're all about the mascot.
Pat the dog is a bloody legend, Mark.
Well, on that note,
look him up on YouTube.
It's been a unique one. Whether we do this again or not, we'll let you guys decide. But thank you so much for listening, wherever you are, whatever you're up to. I've been Mark. It's been fun. Thank you so much. Good night.
Can I just say a big shout out to Pat Riot's? Good night.
Pat bloody
Pat Riot. Do you like that one?